Hi, my name is Dan Toomey, and I am a Senior Product Manager with the TIBCO Omni-Gen suite of data management products. I just joined the TIBCO family from the IBI merger, and honestly, I couldn't be more ecstatic about the enhanced capabilities of the combined TIBCO and IBI for moving the Omni-Gen products forward. Today, we're going to focus on using Omni-Gen data quality services to profile and improve the variety of data coming into your environment from disparate sources so that it can be presented in a consistent, cohesive, and governed set of enterprise data, regardless of where it was acquired. We'll show how the data quality rules can be deployed, managed, and monitored from within your enterprise runtime environment, and how they inform the data stewardship process to ensure that your enterprise data is as clean and accurate as possible for downstream consumption. Let's face it, enterprises today are swamped with more and more sources of data informing their decision-making. Without a data management solution to organize these disparate data sources into a cohesive, ready-to-use set of enterprise data, it's really difficult to unlock the power of your data. Trying to determine a consistent single version of the truth to get an holistic 360-degree view of business entities such as customers, suppliers, and products can be extremely difficult, even for things as simple as a gender code, which might be represented in a multitude of ways across different systems. The TIBCO Omni-Gen suite of products address that consideration by applying well-defined rule sets across the enterprise in support of data governance initiatives to consistently standardize and harmonize enterprise data, reducing the burden on your business analysts, data scientists, and downstream integrators in having to heavily wrangle the data before being able to consume it. As we proceed through today's demo, we'll focus first on profiling, then cleansing and standardization within TIBCO Omni-Gen DQS. Next, we'll see how those rules can be deployed into the Omni-Gen console, and finally, we'll explore data stewardship support for these rules in the Omni-Gen governance console. Before proceeding further, we'll display the obligatory disclaimer, and then we'll go ahead and dive right in. When profiling with TIBCO Omni Data Quality Server, we begin by creating a profile report for our data sources in order to get deeper analysis. So let's jump into the software and begin exploring. On the left-hand side, under File Explorer, I have a list of my data sources, so I'm going to go ahead and right-click on Party Full Data, and select Create Profile from the menu. In the resulting Configure Profile dialog, I'm going to keep the default values for the properties, but I'm going to go ahead and select Enable Drill Through. This option is going to allow us to pull data from that data source and create a new table where we're going to be storing metadata about our profile. So we can go ahead and run the profile, and when the profile report is generated, I can begin reviewing it, utilizing the additional metadata that I've created. So the great thing about TIBCO Omni DQS profiling is that it provides a variety of different tests and validations out of the box without any additional configuration. So I'm going to make this full screen, and on the left-hand side, I can see all the different columns that are part of that particular database. By selecting one of the columns and then clicking on the Basic tab, I can see general counts for that particular field, such as the nulls and the non-nulls. I can also see the breakdown of non-nulls between duplicate and distinct. I have my maximums and minimums, average length, and outliers, or the extreme values on each end. By clicking on the Frequency tab, I can now see the 100 most common and the 100 least common values. And then going ahead and clicking on the Domains tab provides me with additional domain analysis, which looks at the patterns in the data and makes suggestions on its data type. Now, if I select another column, such as birth date, here we can see the identified patterns, but it's also recognizing that this is probably a date field, because most values adhere to what we identify as potential date formats. Clicking the Mask tab provides me with masking information, which shows me the types of patterns in the data that are actually in this particular column. I can double click on one of the values, and it'll show me just those values that are mapped to that particular pattern for further review. Now that we've done some profiling of the data source, we're ready to apply some cleansing and standardization rules based on the underlying patterns in the data. We'll begin by exploring a simple social security number standardization using a pre-built rule component to speed our development time. These components can be implemented as reusable building blocks against multiple subjects in an Omni-Gen implementation, as like in the case of both a patient and a member in a healthcare solution. Here we'll use a test list of social security numbers, one known to be used in advertising, and the next is obviously invalid. I've created the stub of a plan already, and I have a pre-existing social security number cleansing rule that I'm going to drag in here. I'll map my inputs and my outputs, here an input of SSN, as well as predefined metadata tags that I will assign, and then finally an output value called output. After saving and executing, we can see that the top one was tagged that it was used in advertising, and the second one, which was 1 through 9, was tagged as blacklisted, meaning it had the proper number of digits, but for an invalid combination of numbers. You can also see that the output has been standardized to a 3-2-4 format. Next, we'll show how we can cleanse, standardize, and validate addresses. Here, we have a list of input addresses. I've mapped all of this into a data quality plan, creating output columns for the appropriate columns, and as I run this and look at the results, I can see my input address and my output address. I can see if the address is valid, and I can see the level of validity. We see that the +4 is added to the postal code in addition to the county for the first address. The next, which was missing postal code and country, is now complete. The next had only a street address and a city, and now has all of the missing information filled in. The street address was standardized for the Australian address. The locality was changed from Sydney to North Sydney, and the administrative area was changed from a poorly written New South Wales to NSW. The final example, 2 Penn Plaza, with 1111 for a postal code, was standardized as 2 Penn PLZ, with the correct zip +4. Using the dataset from the previous example, we'll now add geocoding to our results. In the plan, I will add outputs for longitude and latitude, and I've enabled geocoding in our standard address cleansing component. I'll run this, and now I see outlat and outlong populated with the longitude and latitude for these addresses in the output. Now that we've profiled our source data and optimized our cleansing rules, we can deploy them in the TIBCO Omni-Gen console to run against source datasets processed through the platform. In addition to facilitating the deployment of updated models and/or data quality rules, the TIBCO Omni-Gen console is also used to manage services, configure parameters, monitor processing, and manage the overall health of the platform. For today's demo, we'll focus on how we might deploy our latest rule changes. Rule changes are applied as part of a deployment bundle, which may contain model changes and/or rule changes for the subjects loaded onto the platform. A quick tour of the deployment screen shows us the history of prior deployments. Deploying a new bundle of data quality rules made on site or model updates is a snap from this console. When data quality rules are updated, reprocessing of all subject data on the platform is as easy as the click of a button. If we now navigate to the processing menu, we can evaluate the runtime statistics for each subject level work order. By drilling into the measures, we can get further information on volumes and statistics for all the subtasks of the work order, including cleansing. Now that we've executed our rules, let's take a look at the Omni-Gen governance console to see things from a data steward's perspective. When implementing a data quality or MDM solution, we can usually resolve data quality issues automatically, either by correcting at the source or by enrichment, standardization, or correction, as we saw earlier. Occasionally, human intervention may be required. The TIBCO Omni-Gen solution provides a data stewardship interface to review data quality issues that the organization determines require human intervention. These can generally be classified as matching cases when you might be implementing a master data management solution within Omni-Gen, or they could be listed as cleansing, which could be the case for our scenario. If you remember during our profile exercise, we tagged certain SSNs during processing. Here we can see that there were 29 records where the social security number was used for advertising, but we can also see that there were a number of date of birth related issues. If I open the reason description, I can filter on a more human-readable description of the tag, and I can filter to just those issues. If I drill into one of these tickets, I can work to resolve it. Here, I know that the value is 1979, not 2079. As I type, I get feedback on the date format, and if I want to evaluate whether the value will pass the data quality rules, I can click Validate to pass through the rules to make sure that I'm not going to create another data quality issue with my fix. Once validated, I can resolve this ticket directly, and it will send my fully audited fix back through the engine. So I hope you've enjoyed a brief tour of some of the TIBCO Omni-Gen functionality as we explored the application of data quality rules in the platform. We navigated through profiling a data source and manipulating the cleansing and standardization rules from within TIBCO Omni Data Quality Services. We saw how those rules were deployed in the Omni-Gen console, informing the data stewardship process in the Omni Governance console to produce a clean, cohesive set of enterprise data on which you can make faster and better decisions for your enterprise. For more information about the TIBCO Omni-Gen products, please click Learn More in the TIBCO Omni-Gen section at the URL displayed on the screen. It's been a pleasure walking you through this demo today, and I really look forward to helping you solve some of your toughest business challenges with TIBCO.